Welcome to this week's look at the state of the New York City real estate market, where I take a look at the luxury market, the Manhattan market, and the Brooklyn market. I do it because I want you to be informed. It never hurts when you're a consumer to be informed. Welcome to this week's look at the state of the New York City real estate market. I bring you the very latest news about the luxury market, the Manhattan market, and the Brooklyn market. This is for the week of November 28th to December 5th. We're going to start, as we always do, with the luxury market. Luxury market in Manhattan are properties that are priced at $4 million and above. So let's take a look at what happened last week. There were 14 contracts signed at $4 million and above. That is one fewer than the previous week, which was Thanksgiving week. Condos outsold co-ops 12-1, and one townhouse was in the mix. Despite the lackluster performance of last week, there was some kind of impressive action at the very top of the market, more in the, let's call it the trophy property side of the market. The number one contract signed last week was actually a combination of two apartments. These apartments are in a new development at 50 West 66th Street. These are two apartments that are going to be combined, 47S and 47N. These apartments were sold off of floor plans by the developer. They were asking a total of $45.5 million. The condo has almost 7,000 square feet. It includes 5 bedrooms, 5.5 bathrooms, has an office, a home theater, and a 24 by 23 eat-in kitchen. It features a 54-foot great room flanked by 2 loggias that showcases a very dramatic Central Park view. The ceiling heights in this condo range from 13 to 14 feet. The amenities include a fitness center, indoor and outdoor swimming pools, basketball and squash courts, bowling alley, a screening room, a game room, bike room, and a dog washing facility. That would be kind of interesting in that building. The details have not been disclosed, of course, but the unit was bought by a New Yorker. The number 2 contract this last week was 58B at 157 West 57th Street. It was asking $24.8 million. It was listed in July of this year. The condo has almost 4,200 square feet. It includes 3 bedrooms and 3.5 bathrooms. The 30 by 43 foot great room and the master bedroom have stunning views of Central Park. The 90-story, 90-unit condo was built above the 5-star Park Hyatt Hotel, which has a separate entrance for its 210 rooms. The amenities include the use of hotel services, a fitness center, a pool, private dining, a library lounge, performance space, and a garage. The seller paid almost $25 million for this property at the end of 2015. We'll take a look now at the stats for last week. The total weekly asking price sales volume, 182,110,000. The average asking price, 13,007,857. The median asking price, 7.3 million. The average discount from original ask to last asking price, 1%. And the average days on the market, 324. Okay, that's it for last week's look at the luxury market. We're going to take a look now at what happened last week in Manhattan. So before we get started with the report for last week on the Manhattan market, I just want to remind you that if you have any questions, please post them below. I'm happy to answer your questions about anything in this report and anything that you might want to know about the real estate market here in New York City. And if you find this kind of information helpful to you, please subscribe to my channel. All right, now let's get started. We're going to talk about what happened last week in Manhattan. As an overview, we are seeing the supply ticking down. This is very much in alignment with the seasonal trends. The pending sales are closer to 2019 levels, and we'll get into all of this information as we take a look at these charts. We're going to start, as we always do, with the 1 week look at the market. And what we're seeing is that 244 properties in Manhattan came on the market. That is a change of almost 209%. That's a bit of a pop. Kind of needed it, as I've mentioned many times in this fall market. Our fall market here has been a bit lackluster when it comes to inventory. A little bit, you could say, the same for contract activity. So the contract signed last week was actually up a little bit. 157 contracts were signed. It's up about a little over 35%. We saw a very large jump in the off-market properties, 340. That is over 76% from the week before. Again, not surprising as we head into the final days of 2022. We are likely to see kind of more of the same of these trends, a little bit, maybe some additional inventory, but probably not a lot. May well see more properties going off the market, and we'll probably see a kind of a steady or a bit flat contract activity. Now let's take a look at the 1 month view. The supply for the month, 845 in Manhattan. This is all properties, so that is down about 46% for the month. The contract signed 625, down 15 and change percent. The off-market properties, 960 for the month. That's up about a little over 17%. As you can see, we continue to be a bit in a buyer's market, but do take a look at the end of this market pulse chart. You can see that we kind of went down and fully into the buyer's market. Now we're kind of going back up again. I think we need more information, though, to know for sure where the market is fully corrected and now we're going to start to go back up. I'm not so sure, but we're going to keep an eye on it, as we always do. I'm sharing these detailed charts with you: the supply, the pending sales, market pulse, days on market, monthly new supply, monthly contract activity, monthly closed sales, off market, price per square foot, on and on and on. Many of you ask me for these kinds of details because you find it very helpful when you're taking a very, very close look at the market. But if you have any questions about these charts or you don't understand anything about these charts, please post your questions below. Happy to answer them. We're going to take a little more detailed look now at the supply. You can see by this chart that the Manhattan inventory is ticking down. Again, this is very much in line with what happens this time of year, but it's good for us to be keeping an eye on it in case it does something different than it usually does. We are also seeing the pending sales overall ticking down. Again, we're kind of looking at this demand being a little bit more like the levels that we saw in 2019. The new listings, we saw a little pop as we kind of left the Thanksgiving week. And in this last week, we did see a little bit of a rise, but for the most part, the new listings really remain in alignment with the usual lower levels that we see this time of year. And as we look at the contracts signed, we also see the contracts, even after the holiday week, kind of ticked down. It may be an indicator that the year may close on a weaker note than we originally thought, but we'll have to wait and see what happens next week and the week after and the week after that. That's it for what happened last week in the Manhattan market. Now we're going to take a look at what happened in Brooklyn. So as I've mentioned, these last, probably over the last month, overall Brooklyn is faring a little better as a market. It's a little stronger in terms of contract activity. than we're seeing in Manhattan. And we're staying in a kind of a neutral market in Brooklyn. But we're going to get into the details now and take a closer look. Starting with the 1 week look at the supply and the contract signed and off-market properties, we saw 156 properties come on the market. That is up almost 179% for the week. The contract signed 137, that's also up almost 88%, and the off-market properties up 60%, 128. As you can see, we are still in a neutral market in Brooklyn. If we take a little bit of a broader look and we look at the 1 month view, as you can see, the supply 567, that is down almost 38%. And the contract signed 443, down 11.22%. Off-market properties 384, up 11% for the month. Again, though, not a lot of properties coming on the market in Brooklyn. Same thing could sort of be said for contract signs. So we remain in this kind of neutral market holding pattern for Brooklyn. If you look at the Market Pulse chart, you can see, kind of like as with Manhattan, we see this little rise at the end of the chart where we're at right now. Again, we don't know 100% if this is an indicator that the market has corrected and now we are kind of on our way back up. One thing, though, that I will say again, as I have been saying, buyers, if you are looking to try to leverage this market, this would probably be a pretty good time to do it. If there's anything out there in the inventory that you like, perhaps it's been on the market for a while, it's a great time to be making those offers. So rather than waiting until, let's say, the market starts to go back up again, you might want to think about making your move sooner rather than later so that you don't miss the opportunity to take full advantage of what is going on. Here are the detailed charts: supply, pending sales, median sale price, price per square foot. You can take a look at these charts. If you have any questions about them, please post your questions below. Sometimes these charts can be just a little bit confusing. If you find them to be so, I would be happy to help you make sense of them. If we take a look at the supply chart for Brooklyn, the Brooklyn inventory is back on this downward trend as the year is winding down. The demand, the pending sales, we see just a little uptick, suggesting the possibility, as I said, that we may have, at least in Brooklyn, kind of leveled out. I think the sentiment based on the data is that is more likely to be the case in Brooklyn than in Manhattan. Of course, we're going to have to keep an eye on this, and we're going to have to see how the rest of the year plays out. But again, buyers, this is your cue, especially the Brooklyn buyers. I wouldn't wait a huge long time if you see something that you like. The weekly new listings did tick up a bit after the holiday, but we're kind of unlikely to see that continue as we head into the end of the year. Contract signed, the weekly contract signed, we're up a little bit. That is kind of surprising and impressive considering the previous weeks where things were pretty quiet. Again, is this an indicator of things to come? Well, if I had a crystal ball, I could tell you, but I don't. So I would say this is what we know right now, and it certainly is good news for Brooklyn, but let's see what happens in the coming weeks. So the Brooklyn listings discounts. Very important for sellers to keep in mind that if you can get your deal done in the first 30 days, as you can see from the chart, there's basically zero negotiability. This is really what you want to be aiming for. Same could be said for Manhattan. I shared that chart with you last week. The longer you're on the market, the more the buyers will push you for deeper discounts. So if you want to make the most money, you can see from this chart, it's very important to kind of come out of the gate properly priced, properly positioned, marketed, so that you can try to get your deal done in those first 30 days. That's it for Brooklyn. And that is it for this week's look at the state of the New York City real estate market. I will be back next week with the very latest news on what's happening in the luxury market, the Manhattan market, and the Brooklyn market. In the meantime, take care.